I'll be damned if I'm still not feeling as lost as I write this. Welcome to another DragonLance Saga episode. My name is Adam, and today we're going to talk about Flint Fireforge. I'd like to take a moment and thank the members of this channel, and invite you to consider becoming a member by visiting the links in the description below. You can even pick up DragonLance gaming materials using my affiliate link. I am referencing the art of the DragonLance Saga, leaves from the Inn of the Last Home, and the chronicles for this information. If I leave out anything or misspeak, please leave a comment below. Most of Flint Fireforge's design came out of Harold Johnson. Flint was intended to be a Falsttaffian dwarf, being fat, jolly, and debauched. But the further they delved into his character, they realized that he may be gruff, cynical, distrustful, dwarvishly greedy, and never forgets an insult, but at the same time, he is extremely loyal, a little bashful, especially around women, humorous, and capable of deep and lasting friendship. Even his flaws and phobias were a gift from Johnson's personal traits: fear of water and avoidance of boats, and his allergies to horses. This brought a fair amount of irony up between the artists and writers, as Flint is portrayed in painting with a horse-hair helm. So, in the story, he refuses to admit it's anything other than a griffon's mane, even though griffons don't have manes. As anyone who has ever known a grumpy curmudgeon, once they warm to you, the grumbling slowly ceases and genuine affection takes its place. Flint was set out to be a grandfatherly figure, and though he did always take a paternal role over his companions, they saw him as a wise counselor and friend more than anything else. He was never shy about standing up for what was right, and minorities, even if he was grumbling about doing so. He has a strong sense of justice and fair play, but he isn't above giving a tongue lashing if necessary. His relationship with Taz was truly wonderful, going from being supremely annoyed with the creature to genuinely loving him as a friend and waiting for him after death at Reorx's forge, much to Reorx's chagrin. But before we end with his death, let's begin with his life. Much like anyone in life, Flint is the product of his environment. His socio-political views are informed by his geography and culture. His grandfather, Rhaegar Fireforge, was thane to the Nidar dwarves before the Cataclysm, and when the mountain fell on Krynn and Thorbardin shut its doors, the Nidar went to war with them. Rhaegar's only surviving son, Durgar Fireforge, fostered an incredible hatred for the mountain dwarves, and would instill this hatred into his 14 children, including Flint. The family heart defect that took Durgar's life when he was middle-aged came from his own mother. This was passed to his children and would be the foreshadowed end to Flint until he entered God's home. His hatred for the mountain dwarves was a taught bigotry, not an earned one, until later in his life, and this speaks to the core of bigotry in Dragonlance, in as much as our own. It is rarely an earned feeling, but rather a learned one. This makes it even more insidious, as there's no reason one should feel it, only their desired connection to those who do, hate by association. It's pathetic, but it makes the Dragonlance world feel relatable. Flint's disdain for the Agar was an earned one, as he was captured when investigating why his homeland was trading with the Thewar dwarves, and thrown into a pit to die, only to be captured by the Agar and made their king. They dubbed him King Flunk II, and Flint has hated them ever since. The truth is that Flint actually used the Agar during the Battle of Hillhome. Having a reason for why characters act a specific way is essential. It's too easy to say, well, he hates elves because he's a dwarf. Yes, but why does he hate them? Of course, this brings up the relationship between Flint and the Quillinisty elves. You see, Flint was an incredibly talented metalsmith. He left his home as a young dwarf to seek his fortune and made quite the name for himself after settling in Solace. He was approached by a representative of the Speaker of the Sun's Solastaran canon for some work. he would have the rare honor of being invited to Quillinesty and would travel there annually to ply his trade. Flint was a busybody. If he wasn't working on metal, he was whittling on wood. He would craft wooden toys and give them for free to children. The elven children would make fun of his beard and stature, and he would act as if it bothered him. The truth is that he loved the innocence and honesty of children, which would be a wonderful in for Taz later on. Flint would find an immediate connection with Tanis Half-Elven and counsel him, even becoming friends and roommates. They would work together for a long time and eventually make friends with the other children of Solace, forming the Companions or Innfellows. Flint, like many of his race and without, is highly distrustful of magic, and this includes Raceland, but he is also one who grudgingly goes with the flow. Again, Flint tends to take others under his wing, and as Lorelanthalassa Cannon is finding herself throughout the War of the Lance, Flint would always be there to counsel her. When she wouldn't listen to him about trading Baccharis for Tanis, he and Taz would go with her, knowingly walking into a trap. It is truly touching to see Flint's heart-warming love for his companions, and in Tarsus, when the dragon army began raiding it, and Taz was believed to be dead, I wept with Flint. The love Flint showed made him more endearing as a character, and when he died, because Margaret Weiss wanted to show that, quote, someone who lived a heroic life should be honored as much as one who had died a heroic death, I read the scene through blurry eyes. I connected with Tanis's reaction in attacking Barum, and the companion's sorrow as he asked Fizban to go with him into the afterlife. This is, of course, juxtaposed by some genuinely hilarious scenes, from Flint fainting upon seeing Fizban in the Stone Dragon, to when Taz and Flint rode Kearsaw in the Vingard campaign and inadvertently captured Baccharis. With the witty and not-so-witty banter between the two through the Chronicles and the sound advice dispersed, Flint Fireforge forged his place in the pantheon of the heroes of the Lance. Even now, as we've come to it, I'm affected by this fictional character's death, and I believe it's a tribute to not only the author's writing and bringing to life this wonderful character, but the sense of loss that is forever in my heart for my friends past. It's such a difficult experience to process the loss of a loved one. Finding those shared experiences that I've had with those I have lost in Flint and his friends brings a sense of connection I would never have expected. Flint's absence was felt all throughout the Legends, War of Souls, and Dark Disciple trilogies, but in-world it was also felt not only by the companions who mourned his passing, but those who knew and recognized his talents as a craftsman. His work is held in the highest regard by those who know good dwarven metalsmithing. If there were any traits I would like to take from Flint, I believe his pragmatic approach to every crazy fantasy encounter and social situation would be at the top of the list. That and I could be available to my friends more than I am. Point in fact, I believe the world would be better off if we had more Flint Fireforges in it. Grumbling and all. And that is all I have to say about Flint Fireforge. I hope you enjoyed the information. Do you appreciate the end they gave Flint? Was he more of a friend or a father to the companions? And finally, if you were friends with Taz, would you be as verbally abusive to him? Leave a comment below. I'd like to take a moment and remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. This all goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with DragonLance Saga, and until next time, remember, of all the hatreds, the ones between families are the cruelest.